What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning into a Hero's Escape, your place for all things Heroscape. Today I'm going to try doing something a little bit differently. I'm actually going to do a lore video, or rather, I'm going to read chapter 1 of Thormun's journal, which is a collection of journals that were written to be as if they were written from the perspective of the character Thormun or written by him, and they were available on the Hasbro website, I believe, back in the day, but they've been preserved by some different people on different websites over time. But essentially, Heroscape is based on the Norse mythology idea of Valhalla, which is a place where warriors go when they die and they feast and continue having war for all of eternity, and whenever they die, they respawn, essentially. But it's a little bit different in Heroscape. Some things are the same, but they used to have webisodes back in the day where you would see these warriors pretty much just before they were dying get transported to Valhalla. I think they did that because it was marketed towards kids. I think, like, probably the reality is that the warriors died and got transported. I don't know, but this is the story for Heroscape's version. So basically, in Valhalla, there's all these different Valkyrie generals, or Kyrie generals, because the Norse mythology is Valkyrie, which are like female angel type things. But in Heroscape, it's the Kyrie, and they're not just female. There's also males and stuff too, but they have wings and all this. Basically, the Kyrie generals are battling over the magical well springs, which grant immortality, strength of body and mind, and visions of other worlds. So pretty much that's what would happen. Like, all these different Kyrie generals are picking warriors from all of time and from all different worlds and transporting them to Valhalla to fight on their armies for the well springs, to have control of them. And you would see things like US Army soldiers being transported, or British soldiers, or the Shaolin monks, or even aliens from other worlds, or like sci-fi looking guys from a different world in a different time, because it's the battle of all time. That's what Heroscape is. So this is the brief little description of Valhalla, and then I'll get into Thormun's journal. But Valhalla is the world in which the majority of the Heroscape story unfolds, and its most populous inhabitants are the Kyrie, a tall-winged humanoid race. Valhalla has been torn apart by many decades of ongoing war between its inhabitants, the Kyrie, over magical wellsprings that grant immortality, strength of body and mind, and visions of other worlds. Valhalla is a largely uncharted world, with vast stretches beyond its central continent that remain unmapped. The central continent is divided into regions, each overseen by a provincial ruler called an Arch-Kyrie. Although the Kyrie have established their kingdoms in it, they share Valhalla with many other species, and there are many mysteries of their past ages that remain unsolved, including the identity of the long-forgotten civilization that built the 15 well springs. So that's the brief description there, and I'll put a map in the video showing it. Alright, moving on, we have Thormun's journal, which is a collection of fictional journal entries from Thormun and other Heroscape characters, comprising one of the larger pieces of the Heroscape canon. The first journal entry could be found on the inside cover of the Rise of the Valkyrie Master Set rulebook, and subsequent entries were originally uploaded to Heroscape.com. Thormun is not the only author of the journals, as some entries have been written by Sergeant Drake Alexander, and indeed, he pens most of the journal entries during the Swarm of the Morrow period. So let's go ahead and get to chapter 1 here and read through it. And I'll probably do a more comprehensive lore video down the road, but for now I'm just going to start with Thormun's journals. I am Thormun. Valhalla is my homeland. Though I do not recognize the regions that I dare to visit, my people, the Kyrie, lived peacefully here for thousands of years under the rule of our Arch-Kyries. Then the well springs were found and everything changed. Ah, the mysterious well springs. 60-some years ago I discovered the first one quite by accident, in the tarn of Volsunga. When I drank its water, I became stronger in body and mind. My wings grew to a wondrous size. I gained mystical powers, and to my astonishment, I stopped aging. Yet if I did not drink from the wellspring often, the powers faded. I lived quite happily in this way for a time, except for the visions. You see, along with the powers came strange visions of armies at war on bleak, unknown battlegrounds. Their images were terrifying, and I lived in fear of them, yet I still drank the water. I was not surprised to hear that other well springs had been found. Other Kyrie drank from them, and gained powers from them, and saw the visions. They became a super species. They named themselves Valkyrie, and they seized control of the well springs. Inevitably, there began a violent struggle over the precious waters. I fled before they could find me, for I was alone and did not want war. My powers soon vanished, and the visions along with them. As for the visions of the Valkyrie, they became a horrifying reality. The Valkyrie discovered that the images in those visions were of great heroes, warriors and creatures from other worlds, other eras. They devised ways to beckon them to Valhalla, and gathered them into powerful armies to fight for their side. Lush valleys and hillsides became military strongholds. Majestic mountains became vantage points for deadly attacks on those below. Armies marched, fought, claimed victory, or were vanquished, all for the wellsprings. Alas, Valhalla, my once serene homeland, has now become a war-torn and desolate ruin. They are calling this age of war the rise of the Valkyrie. I travel the land in secret, carrying little more than my journals and my heavy burden of guilt, for it all began with me. I record all that I witness or hear about for those who will come after me, indeed, if any do. And here's journal entry 2. War is everywhere, and its dangers multiply as Utgar's army grows in size and ferocity. Let's get a little description of Utgar. Utgar is a Valkyrie general, the Arch-Kyrie of Upper Bleakwood. At one time part of the Council of Arch-Kyrie, but not anymore apparently, and one of the greatest threats to peace in Valhalla. He plans to find and possess all 15 of the wellsprings, and the amulets that go with them, which will allow him to invade other worlds like Earth. This prompted Jandar to form an alliance against him, which included Olar, Einar, Vidar, and later Aquila. There's our big antagonist here is Utgar. We'll continue. I underestimated Utgar's savagery and hunger for power. His massive, tireless, well-prepared armies attack relentlessly, with little or no warning, and leave a sickening path of destruction in their wake. And now they have done the unforgivable. They have invaded my hometown of Teleron, the peaceful village where I spent my childhood, where my brother, his wife, and his children made their home, now utterly annihilated. A smoldering heap of rubble. I can only pray that my friends and family escaped safely. Recently, I had the privilege of meeting Jandar, Arch-Kyrie and ruler of Nostraland, where many of Utgar's armies are now waging war. When Jandar told me of his constant need for soldiers and scouts, I eagerly volunteered for a scouting post in his army. The horrors of this war have given me new resolve, and I am no longer content to travel in secret. I am old, but I can still fly, and I know the region well. We will not lose this war. Utgar will not destroy this planet, and I will not sit silently by and simply watch Utgar work his evil. Jandar also spoke of other Valkyrie, others who had drunk from the wellsprings. Rumors are of a Valkyrie in the east named Olar. It is unclear whether he is Jandar's ally, Utgar's ally, or serves his own purpose. Jandar is sending emissaries to meet with Olar and 2 others who have made their presence known. These other Valkyrie have not mastered the difficulties of summoning armies, and, as of now, their forces are small, but soon they too will learn to control the visions and the war will only get worse. I hope their hearts are pure. Journal entry 3. Last night, I had the pleasure of camping with Jandar's northern army. The army has heard rumors of a pending attack. They are holding the high ground in the old ruins of Stetchaven, located in the southern part of Nostraland. Sergeant Drake Alexander leads this army. He spoke of his family and of a great war on a planet named Earth. He spoke of good and evil. Jandar is noble. Utgar, on the other hand, is evil. Utgar seeks power and wealth, like so many generals from Earth. At what point do we, intelligent beings, actually learn from history? That's annotation from Sergeant Drake Alexander. And we'll do a little, I'll read a little bit about him real quick. He's pretty much the face of Heroscape, so he was the protagonist. Like, I think it's safe to say a lot of the webisodes and stuff were centered around him. Sergeant Drake Alexander is one of Heroscape's most prominent characters, appearing in comics, cartoons, and appearing in, as well as penning, a portion of Thormun's journals. Summoned in the Rise of the Valkyrie era by Jandar, Sergeant Drake would get a second figure in the Swarm of the Morrow era alongside his close friend Raylan the Kyrie warrior. A third figure for Sergeant Drake has been confirmed for release in the Age of Annihilation era, giving him and Raylan the unique privilege of having 3 figures in Heroscape. You can only control one unique figure with the same name. Thus, you can only have one version of Sergeant Drake in your army at a time. So basically, Sergeant Drake Alexander is a U.S. Army sergeant that fought in World War II and got transported to Valhalla to fight with Jandar's army, along with some of the U.S. airborne troops. This is Journal Entry 4. Last night, I also met Raylan. She is beautiful and courageous. The Sentinels of Jandar all respect Raylan. She is also a childhood friend of Jandar's. The Sentinel spoke of her valor on the battlefield. I'm glad she is fighting on our side. We are going on a scouting mission today. I will document all that we see. Entry 5. This is Eric. He is a Sentinel. So there's a little sketch of the Sentinel Eric. And that's A-R-I-K. This is Eric. He is a Sentinel. The Sentinels are the core of Jandar's army, what's left of it. About 200 are in the Northern Army. They are tough. Most of them have homes near here. Entry 6. We, Raylan and myself, traveled along the edge of the forest near Stetchaven. Raylan described to me one of Utgar's many soldiers. And here's her description. Be wary of this creature, for it travels alone. Its bluish tint and foul smell are unmistakable, known as a blade grut from the orc family. This beast travels in large packs, using sheer numbers and jagged blades to hack away at their enemies. There are rumors of thousands of these creatures gathering just outside of Nostraland. I do not believe we ever got a Thormun figure, so it's interesting that he's so closely related to this campaign of Jandar's armies, but we never got a figure for him. I guess because he's I guess he doesn't want war. I don't know. Maybe he's a pacifist. Journal Entry 7. Here we go. Raylan also told me about Utgar's Mara warriors. In the past, when I used to drink from the wellspring, I used to get visions of these creatures fighting hordes of snakes. Skinless, this is from Raylan, a description. Skinless and dripping, these creatures are the most disgusting that I have seen yet. They are brutal with their weapons, and somehow they actually seem to be multiplying. During a battle, I witnessed the most unusual thing. As soon as one of these creatures died, another was formed. I saw one creature in the water look as if it was going to split in two. Its body began to stretch apart. I thought it was going to split in half. Then suddenly I looked, and there were 2 of these creatures standing where there used to be only one. Can such creatures ever be completely destroyed? Okay, here's Journal Entry 8. As Raylan was talking quietly, we heard in the distance something moving through the forest. We quickly flew up into a large tree with many leaves. If we remain quiet, we should be able to observe what is coming without being spotted. That's when we saw this hideous creature. Looks like Utgar has a new addition to his already powerful Morrow army. This creature was surrounded by an army of Morrow drones and a huge horde of blade gruts. So, I don't know. Basically, the previous description of the skinless and dripping creature is a Morrow. And I will show some pictures of Morrow. But that's that. And then we go on to the last journal entry for Journal 1, which is number 9. And it says, on the left flank, there is a horde of these skeleton dogs. They look like another Morrow creature. Sergeant Alexander is not going to be happy. We are going to have to make a break for the air to warn the Northern Army. That is Thormun's journal number 1. If you guys like this and want more lore videos, I will definitely continue going through Thormun's journals. And once I get through all of them, I will do a comprehensive lore video covering all the lore of Heroscape. The fact is, I just don't personally know it all. I haven't read through all the journals before, so I need to get familiar with them first before I can do a full video. So I figured I might as well just do videos reading the journals first. That way people can watch these and not just have to read them themselves. But yeah, if you guys like this and want more, I will definitely continue to do more. Thank you for tuning in. I've got some more videos coming up soon. I was doing map building time-lapse videos, which were pretty cool, but I found a new way to do it where I can actually show each layer one by one in the video, and that way people can like actually pause it and build along with me if they want to build the maps that I build. So it'll work kind of like the instructions out of the book. I like the instruction book. So that's one thing, and then I've got a Marvel Heroscape playthrough that my friend and I are going to do, and that'll be a lot better quality than the last playthrough. So yeah, definitely like and subscribe if you want more Heroscape content, more lore. Let me know in the comments if you want more lore videos. And just a real quick toss this in, my fantasy novel, The Price of Renewal, is available on Amazon in paperback, hardcover, and ebook. And yeah, thanks again for watching. I'll go ahead and call it there on the video.